Hey, yo, this is Asco, and you watching Coffee with KL.
And thank you for joining us. A violent kidnap drama that targeted a traveling group of 4 Americans in Matamoros, Mexico is over. Sadly, with word 2 of them were killed. The others were recovered alive in what may have been a case of mistaken identity in an increasingly lawless area near the Texas border. The group from South Carolina had driven across the border for a medical procedure when they were set upon by armed men. The chilling moment captured on video. The State Department has a do not travel advisory for the area posted on its website, warning Americans of crime and kidnapping in the region. Also tonight, we speak to the wife of one of the surviving victims. Gabe Gutierrez is in their hometown in South Carolina.
Tonight, the 2 Americans who survived the brazen kidnapping are back on U.S. soil after a harrowing few days. Latavia Washington McGee, seen here today in an ambulance, is among the survivors. Her mother, who spoke with her directly, tells NBC News. The violent abduction caught on camera. The victims dragged onto this white pickup truck. The FBI says gunmen had opened fire on the group shortly after they'd crossed the Texas border into Matamoros, Mexico. Today, authorities confirmed 2 of the Americans had been killed.
We extend our deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased.
McGee was joined by her cousin, Shahid Woodard, and friends Zindell Brown and Eric James Williams on the days-long trip from their homes in South Carolina to Mexico, for what a law enforcement official familiar with the matter says was a cosmetic medical procedure. Mexican authorities say Williams also survived, but was shot in the leg. We spoke with his wife, Michelle, today by phone.
I didn't know anything until Sunday morning when the FBI came. Everything just seemed so surreal to me.
She says she spoke with her husband for a few minutes today before he went into surgery.
I am very happy that he's alive, but I'm also heartbroken for the other families who can't say the same.
She says the 4 were childhood friends taking the trip together to share driving responsibilities. So-called medical tourism is on the rise. Pre-pandemic, an estimated 1.2 million Americans traveled to Mexico each year for elective medical treatment, mostly cosmetic procedures and complex dentistry. But Matamoros is in the Mexican state of Tamaulipas, which the State Department classifies as Level 4 Do Not Travel. Violence there has intensified among warring factions of the notorious Gulf Cartel. Today, the governor of Tamaulipas said one person who was guarding the kidnapping victims was arrested. They were found in a wooden house in Matamoros, and over the past 3 days, investigators say they've been moved to several locations, including a medical clinic, to create confusion.
The cartels are responsible for the deaths of Americans, and we are fighting as hard as possible. The DEA and the FBI are doing everything possible.
Gabe, do we know any more about the circumstances that led to the kidnapping?
Well, Lester, a law enforcement source with knowledge of the matter says the evidence suggests that the group of Americans was mistakenly targeted after they crossed the border. The source says that one theory is that the cartel may have believed that they were Haitian smugglers encroaching on their turf.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
A Shreveport, Louisiana police officer was arrested earlier this week on a charge of negligent homicide in a fatal shooting that occurred earlier this month in which Alonzo Bagley, an unarmed black man, was shot and killed. Now, since then, multiple police officer body cams have been released, and we are going to show some of the footage. Obviously, bear in mind, this is content that is quite difficult to watch as we proceed.
What's your name?
Alonzo.
Hey, can you step out for me?
No. What you need?
Can you
My
step
dog.
out?
I got dog.
No, come on in, sir. You disturbing the peace. The people next
Be
door
careful.
over there.
Let me put my dog.
Sit down.
Let me put my dog.
Sit down.
Intoxicated. That's right.
Let her. Hey, come here. Come here.
Put my dog up.
She can put the dog up.
That's right. He disturbing the peace. They got weed back there. He's clowning. The woman next door with him. You know, I don't about to give you quick. I don't think they keep it on me. He locked the door and stuff. There you go.
Hey, hey! Dispatch, send EMS right now. Shots fired. Shots fired. No. No, sir. Sir. Hey. No. No. Tyler. No. Tyler, you're good. Hey. No. Hey, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. No. Come on. No. Come on. Come on. No. Come on. Man. No. Come on. No, man.
As I said, very difficult to watch. You saw there police responding to a disturbance. In the video, Alonzo Bagley decides to run, which for reasons I'll never understand is the most dangerous thing that you can do in America, is make the cops chase you. And within maybe 30 seconds at the beginning of that chase, a fatal shot was fired. Now, Officer Alexander Tyler has only been a member of the police force since May of 2021. Made his initial appearance in court, and the footage was analyzed. You can see on some of the footage, not on others, that his hands were actually up prior to the shot being fired. There had been claims about the possibility of him being armed. He was, of course, not armed. And we do have a little bit more body camera footage from the aftermath of the shooting.
Dispatch, send EMS right now. Shots fired. Shots fired.
I mean, nobody really would believe it unless you had these bodies that showed you it was really happening.
What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? Welcome back to Moxie Approved. The FBI is officially opening an investigation of Harris County jail system.
It is appalling that you will have 32 detainees die in the Harris County jail in a 14-month period.
After discovery of a raucous amount of inmates that have died within the past 14 months.
I mean, nobody really would believe it unless you had these bodies that showed you it was really happening.
Now, Harris County first appeared on the FBI radar primarily from these two cases. One of Jakari Simmons and the second one of Jacoby Pillow. Now, when you hear the details of these two cases, it definitely seems like Harris County has a problem using excessive force. Before we go too far into this story, please do me one small favor, hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, apply pressure to that subscribe button. Apply pressure to that subscribe button.
Last year, there were 28 in custody deaths involving the Harris County Sheriff's Office, including 25 inmates at the jail.
Take Jakari Simmons, 23 years old, charged with weapon possession. Days after being booked, they claimed that Simmons had clogged his toilet with clothes. So when the officers came in there to clean up the mess, they say that's when the fight occurred, the physical altercation. By the end of this physical altercation, it was said that Simmons was left in his cell with no clothes on during a winter storm. Now, at some point, prosecutors claim that Simmons had an altercation with a detention officer that goes by the name of Eric Morales. Eric Morales is 6'5", 260 pounds, about the size of an offensive lineman. Simmons, 5'4", 120 pounds. The next morning, Simmons was found unresponsive. Now, when examiners did their research on how Simmons died, they labeled it as blunt trauma force to the head.
But I have been able to review court documents, and they say that Eric Morales caused the injuries that killed Jakari Simmons in custody. Court documents show he caused Simmons' death by dropping him on his head, kneeing him in the head, striking his head against the door, and striking his head against the wall.
Now, one of the main things that stuck out about this altercation is the facility has over 1,000 cameras scattered across the facility. Not one camera caught this altercation.
At that time, none of the 1,490 cameras in the jail captured the confrontation.
When you do research on this case, Eric Morales He previously was charged with a civil rights violation, but the grand jury did not indict him. After being involved in this beating, he was indicted by a grand jury on a charge of manslaughter.
It took 2 years and multiple grand jury proceedings to get to an indictment for manslaughter.
Now that's just the first case. The second case, Jacoby Pillow. Now this one is very eerie. And the reason why I say this is it seems like this could have happened to anybody that was arrested. He was arrested for misdemeanor trespassing. And he had just finished posting a $100 bond, and he was in the process of being released.
The sheriff's office says Jacoby Pillow was arrested for trespassing on New Year's Day. He was about to be released on bond when investigators say he assaulted an officer at the jail and needed to be restrained.
Records say during the process of him being released that he assaulted a detention officer, in which they ended up giving him an additional charge right on the spot and locking him back up. Now, me personally, I've been to jail and I've had to go to court. I have seen suspects and stuff like that, people charged with a crime. I've seen them get emotional and attack people in court. I've also seen this in jail. I've been in jail, I've been arrested a few times, never prison, but in jail, I have seen people waiting for their case and end up getting into a physical altercation with some of the COs. But this situation, to me, is extra eerie because he was in the process of being released. They were discharging this man from the prison, but all of a sudden, he ends up found beat to a pulp on his way out. The report says that he was supposed to be released at 1:10 a.m. After the scuffle, they had to send him to get checked and examined, and he was cleared to be sent back to the cell. Well, when another officer did his morning routine at 8 a.m., he found Pillow, who was unresponsive. Hour later, at 9:12 a.m., he was pronounced dead.
In fact, investigators say he received a medical evaluation but was found unresponsive in his cell several hours later and died at the hospital.
What I think happened there is somebody did not want Pillow to give an account of what happened during this scuffle in this situation. Ultimately, Simmons gave up the ghost in 2021 and Pillow earlier this year.
On average, it's 2 people a month dying in the jail here in Houston.
That led feds to reveal that 32 inmates have gave up the ghost in Harris County jail system in just 14 months. 14 months. One thing I see on YouTube, there's a lot of people that we like to bash criminals. They're bad for our community. Go ahead and lock them up. But people that say that, what they don't take into account is everybody that's arrested is not guilty. Now, I'm not saying that most of these people in jail are innocent. I'm not saying that. But there are a good amount of people in jail right now that are innocent. Wrong place, wrong time. So I personally believe that even if these people did make mistakes and are guilty of these crimes, I believe that people deserve a second chance, let alone some of these people might not even be guilty. But take Pillow. For a measly trespassing violation, a misdemeanor, he never had a chance to fight his case. He went into jail for misdemeanor trespassing, had a $100 bond, was about to be released. He would never see his family.
You ready, Foster? Shots fired, shots fired. Shots! He's on it. He's on the no, don't go around. He's on the oh shit. Watch out. Ah! Yes! Shots fired here, right here. Shots fired. I'm hearing shots fired. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. 43, 244, also been facing now. Hey. Don't come in here.